Welcome back to Digital Dealer 27. We're here in Las Vegas, and we're here interviewing Marc.
Yes.
Marc's interviewing Marc.
Yeah, Marc McGurren.
Marc McGurren,
Yes.
thank you so much for taking a few minutes with us.
Yes, sir.
So the question on the table today
Yes, sir.
that we're asking people is, what would you say is the biggest challenge that we're faced in the industry in 2019, or some of the biggest challenges anyway you're observing?
Right. So one of the biggest challenges I find, I'm an internet BDC sales consultant. So I have the luxury of traveling to quite a few dealers all across this country. Big, small, new, used. I got an independent used car dealership I work with.
Yep.
And I got a 14-store and 11-store group I work with. All are a little bit different, but the bottom line is, we're a digital dealer. There's all these great widgets, and so people are looking for solutions to help them sell cars. But what I found the greatest challenge that most dealers have is good processes behind it with training, right? So we might have the right people, if our processes stink. For so many times, I don't know any other industry really in the world that allows almost a tail to wag the dog.
Right.
Right? The sales people kind of dictate what happens. I was at dinner with the general manager last night of an extremely large Chevrolet dealership. They struggle with that. They've got these guys that have been around for 20, 30 years. Right? And so it's how do you get them to buy into the process?
Yeah. It's kind of crazy right now because we're seeing, and you're not the first guy that said this.
Right.
And if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying we used to be a very people-dependent business,
right,
and we're evolving to a process-dependent business, and those people that have been at it for a long time are kind of struggling to make the change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and so because you've had these guys and gals that have been very successful and helped dealers be very successful through the years, right?
Yeah.
And so, but they've also developed that salesmanship through the years. As we raise up through the ranks and try to hire folks, some of those folks don't have that salesmanship. They don't have that ability, that natural instinct. And some of those natural instincts are what I call muscle memory habits.
Sure.
Not bad habits, muscle memory habits
Yep.
that aren't good anymore. They were great 10, 20 years ago,
Yep.
and now we got to evolve.
Yeah.
So, but I think that putting those processes in place, but then going behind and training. My training was go follow Don Griffin.
Sure.
Go follow him, right?
Yeah.
And do what he does.
Right.
That was my training.
Right. And oh, by the way, here's the keys, and here's where you find all the other stuff, and here's where the restroom is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And go sell cars, right? And so I graduate and I go to finance. I did get training for finance.
Sure.
But then I go to the desk.
Yep.
Go sell cars.
Right. That was the extent of what you were taught.
I'm like, what do I do? And so I had to come along the way. I was never trained, right? And so I evolved through that. You know, luckily through trained specifically, like every day. Through that to guide and direct me as a salesperson, as a finance manager, as a desk manager. And I think that's missing in today's market for sure.
What do you see in the next, I'll say, 3 to 5 years?
Okay,
let's kind of forecast a little bit. What do you see in the next 3 to 5 years that are going to be maybe the biggest challenges for dealers to kind of get through that next phase that's coming up?
I think the biggest challenge I see is retention with their salespeople, right? Because one of the issues they have with training is, right, I'm going to train you, and train you, and train you, and train you, and only one of you is going to be around next year. Right? And so I think it's finding, because those folks that have been selling cars for 10 to 20 years, they're retiring.
Oh, yeah.
That general manager I was speaking to last night, one of their struggles is that they've lost 18 good salespeople over the past 12 months.
Yeah.
But not because they're sad, they literally retired.
Right.
They've been there for years. And so those guys and gals are going away. Well, if people are coming up for the ranks, how can we retain that staff and make this not just a job, but a career? And I think Automotive, we do a poor job of letting know that there's careers here. And it's not like you just stumble in, I need a job to get by. No, what's that career path? Where can I go through the dealership and work my way up to having a career?
So, kind of last question for you. You're here like the rest of us at Digital Dealer. Any epiphanies strike you? Anything new? Anything not specific necessarily to a vendor, but maybe just some awareness or some repeated stuff? If you're like me, you relearn stuff over and over again in this industry.
Absolutely.
Anything that you would want to share that maybe you're just kind of coming to realization after taking the time to be here that you'd be focusing on going forward, either in your business or with your clients?
So one of my main things I focus on is, I do internet sales training. And so a dealer worries about, hey, sell me as many cars as possible. Well, the sold is the end result of everything that happens before that, right? You got to get them to show up, you got to get that appointment, but before that, you got to get that connection. So one thing I've always trained on is that connection, right? Well, a lot of the stuff that's here is designed to do just that, right? So before, it's no longer just voicemails. It's sending video messages in a way that is easily digestible and attainable on their phones. And so I think that we're finally evolving not everybody. That's what's interesting, is that you have some CRMs, some companies that aren't embracing that. Or they might, but they don't have, the technology is so antiquated that they can't embrace it. And so you have these newcomers that are coming up, that it'll be interesting to see how these newer CRMs or different platforms that are plugging that holes, because we have some legacy CRMs out there that can't do what they need to do.
Yep.
And because it's helping connect, right?
Absolutely.
You know, we're sitting there and I see a phone buzzing right over there next to us. You know, if I pulled up, now in an interview, you'd be upset if I pulled up my phone and started texting.
Sure.
But if we're sitting here talking in a normal conversation, I can text you, video, right? And I think that's what's missing, that dealers need to embrace more and realize that's the society we live in. Now how can we not only integrate that into our process, but hold people accountable, right, through our process and whatnot.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Mark, so much for talking with me.
Thank you, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, sir.
All right, take
yes,
care.
Sir.
That come through okay? Excellent.